Welcome to Deep World Updates. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. Let's get right to it. In a development that has sent shockwaves through the world of sports, FIFA has made a decision that no one saw coming, at least not this soon. In a stunning move, FIFA has stripped the United States of the 2026 World Cup. The announcement came early this morning, catching fans, officials, and even players completely off guard. The United States, once the proud host of the world's most watched sporting event, is now out of the picture. The world's biggest sporting event, once set to be America's triumphant return to the global soccer stage, is now gone. Stadiums that were supposed to be filled with roaring crowds and international excitement now stand empty, their banners and flags already starting to fade. The dream of hosting the World Cup, a dream that took years to build, has vanished almost overnight. Instead of hosting, the US is sidelined, watching as Canada and Mexico take center stage. The torch has been passed, and the celebrations have already begun north and south of the border. Streets in Toronto, Vancouver, Mexico City, and Monterrey are alive with fans waving flags, singing, and preparing for a tournament that will now define their country's sporting legacies. The official reason? America failed to meet basic hosting obligations, FIFA's way of saying, "You had one job." The statement was blunt, almost cold, outlining a list of missed deadlines, incomplete infrastructure, and unresolved legal issues. FIFA's patience, it seems, finally ran out. Political chaos, logistical failures, and bureaucratic blunders turned a dream into a global embarrassment. Meetings devolved into finger-pointing, and press conferences became spectacles of confusion. The world watched as American officials scrambled to explain what went wrong, but the damage was already done. Matches meant for Los Angeles, New York, and Dallas are being reassigned. These iconic cities once set to welcome the world are now crossed off the schedule. The economic impact will be felt for years, with local businesses, hotels, and workers losing out on billions in revenue and opportunity. The party goes on, but America's not invited. Fans who bought tickets, made travel plans, and dreamed of witnessing history are left with nothing but disappointment. The sense of loss is palpable, echoing through empty stadiums and deserted fan zones. This isn't just about soccer, it's about a broken promise to billions of fans and players. The world was watching, expecting the United States to deliver a spectacle. Instead, they witnessed a collapse that will be studied for years to come. FIFA's decision, though shocking, was months in the making. Behind closed doors, concerns grew as deadlines slipped and problems piled up. The warning signs were there, but they were ignored or downplayed until it was too late. Warnings about visa issues, stadium delays, and a hostile political climate were ignored. International visitors faced endless red tape, construction sites fell behind schedule, and protests outside stadiums signaled deeper unrest. Each problem was a red flag, but none were addressed in time. Now Canada and Mexico, once supporting players, are the stars. Their cities are transforming into global hubs for soccer, with fans and businesses embracing the opportunity. The spotlight has shifted, and they are ready to deliver a World Cup the world will remember. America is left to wonder how it fumbled so badly. The questions are just beginning, and the search for answers will be long and painful. For now, all that remains is regret and a sense of what could have been. The fallout is massive, not just for soccer, but for America's global reputation. Headlines around the world are critical, and the nation's image as a reliable host is in tatters. The consequences will ripple far beyond the pitch, affecting diplomacy, business, and future sporting events. It's a mess. An epic, self-inflicted mess. The United States has lost more than a tournament. It's lost the world's trust and perhaps a piece of its sporting soul. Let's rewind. Let's go back to a moment filled with hope, excitement, and the promise of something truly historic. Imagine the world's eyes fixed on North America, anticipation building for the biggest sporting event on the planet. Let's rewind. Let's remember the energy, the optimism, and the sense that anything was possible. The world was ready for a party like no other, and North America was set to host it. In 2018, the US, Canada, and Mexico won the right to host the 2026 World Cup. It was a moment of triumph, a rare show of unity across borders. The three nations promised a tournament that would span an entire continent, bringing together millions of fans and showcasing the best of North American hospitality. The United States was the senior partner in this grand venture, set to host the majority of matches, including the prestigious final. American cities prepared to welcome the world, with state-of-the-art stadiums and a reputation for pulling off massive events. The plan was ambitious. America's infrastructure and resources would combine with the passion and spirit of Canadian and Mexican fans. It was meant to be a symbol of North American unity, a celebration that would transcend politics and borders. But that unity, so proudly announced, quickly began to unravel. Political turmoil in the US soon made the dream of open borders and seamless travel impossible. Instead of welcoming fans from around the globe, the country found itself mired in debates over immigration, security, and national identity. The vision of a borderless festival faded as reality set in. While Canada and Mexico quietly moved forward, building new stadiums and preparing for their moment in the spotlight, the US seemed to create more obstacles than solutions. Bureaucratic red tape, political infighting and public protests slowed progress at every turn. What was supposed to be a unified tournament quickly became a logistical nightmare. Event planners struggled to coordinate across 3 countries, while travelers faced endless paperwork and uncertainty. The dream of a seamless World Cup experience slipped further away with each passing month. FIFA, the global governing body of soccer, watched with growing frustration as America's promises faded. Press conferences grew tense and questions mounted about whether the US could deliver on its commitments. The gap between what was pledged and what was actually delivered grew into a chasm. Gleaming new stadiums in some cities stood in stark contrast to stalled construction and broken promises elsewhere. The once bright United 2026 logo began to look cracked and worn, a symbol of lost opportunity. American soccer fans who had dreamed of a summer to remember watched in disappointment as the excitement faded. Stadiums that should have been filled with cheering crowds instead sat empty, their lights dimmed, their promise unfulfilled. Around the world, people watched in disbelief as America's big moment slipped away. The world's biggest party, once entrusted to the US, became a cautionary tale of how even the greatest opportunities can be lost, slowly, painfully, and for all to see. The heart of the fiasco? Getting in. For thousands of fans, players, and officials, the journey to the World Cup was supposed to be a dream come true, a once-in-a-lifetime chance to witness football's greatest spectacle. But for many, that dream quickly turned into a bureaucratic nightmare. The World Cup is meant to be a global gathering, a celebration that unites people from every corner of the planet. But this time, the US made entry nearly impossible. Instead of open arms, visitors were met with endless hurdles and red tape. A revived travel ban and a clogged, outdated visa system shut out not just fans but even players and coaches from key football nations. The ban didn't just target a few countries, it cast a shadow over the entire event, making everyone feel unwelcome. Wait times for visa appointments soared to months, sometimes even years. Paperwork piled up in embassies around the world and arbitrary rejections became the norm. People who had followed every rule, submitted every document, and paid every fee were turned away without explanation. Imagine saving for years, planning every detail, only to be denied entry because of bureaucracy. Families were separated, lifelong dreams were crushed, and the excitement of the World Cup was replaced by heartbreak and frustration. FIFA's core principle is inclusion. Hosts must guarantee entry for all accredited fans, teams, and officials. The World Cup is supposed to transcend politics and borders, bringing people together in the name of sport. But the US treated these guarantees as optional, not essential. Instead of honoring the spirit of the tournament, they enforced strict policies that left many stranded outside the gates. Diplomatic promises were made, with officials assuring FIFA and the world that everyone would be welcome. But on the ground, nothing changed. The reality was a maze of denials, delays, and disappointment. Even teams weren't immune. Some squads worried if their full rosters would be allowed to compete. Coaches scrambled to find last-minute replacements, and athletes trained for years only to be left behind. The situation became untenable, a direct violation of the World Cup's spirit. Stadiums that should have been packed with passionate fans instead had empty seats and a subdued atmosphere. The US injected politics into every step, creating a tiered system of access. Some were fast-tracked, while others faced insurmountable barriers, all depending on their nationality or political ties. Fans from friendly nations got in with ease. Others were left out in the cold, watching from afar as their dreams slipped away. The divide was obvious, and the message unmistakable. The message was clear: you're not welcome. For many, the World Cup became a symbol not of unity, but of exclusion. FIFA and the world heard it loud and clear. The controversy overshadowed the games, raising questions about whether the World Cup's true spirit could survive in the face of such barriers. For FIFA, a match ticket is sacred, a promise, not a gamble. When fans buy a ticket, they expect to get in. If that trust breaks, the whole system collapses. The US failed to uphold this promise. Visa chaos made every ticket a risk, not a guarantee. Why buy a ticket to see Brazil versus Germany and LA if your visa might be denied? Reports of denied entry poured in, chilling fan enthusiasm. FIFA asked for a streamlined visa process for ticket holders, standard for major events. The US responded with silence and red tape. Faced with the risk of empty stadiums and global outrage, FIFA had to act. The golden rule was broken. A ticket in the US became a lottery ticket. For FIFA, that was a risk too far. The promise was shattered. Beyond politics, stadiums became a disaster. US stadiums needed upgrades to meet FIFA's strict standards, but tariffs on steel and aluminum sent costs soaring. Renovation budgets exploded, projects stalled, and taxpayers balked. Delays piled up, supply chains snarled, and deadlines slipped. By 2025, key stadiums were nowhere near ready. FIFA inspectors found construction chaos, not world-class venues. The US government's business-first policies backfired, making it impossible to deliver. The dream of gleaming American infrastructure crumbled into unfinished projects and panic. The foundation of the US hosting plan was dust. While the US stumbled, Canada and Mexico excelled. Both nations tackled their hosting duties with focus and efficiency. Mexico's stadiums were renovated on time and on budget, with open arms for fans. Canada finished upgrades early and made entry easy for ticket holders. Their message, "Welcome, world." The contrast was stark. Canada and Mexico were ready. America was a liability. FIFA saw which partners could deliver. The neighbors showed America how it's done. In global sports, money talks, and it started speaking Spanish and French. Sponsors want certainty, not chaos. As US troubles mounted, major brands shifted investments to Canada and Mexico. Why risk empty stadiums in Dallas when Mexico City promised a packed party? Fans followed suit, booking trips to Canada and Mexico. Not the US tour operators and ticket resellers focused on non-US matches. The feedback loop was clear. Sponsors and fans abandoned the US. The commercial case for America collapsed. FIFA's golden goose became a lame duck. The financial argument for a US-centered tournament vanished. Money, sponsors, and fans all said the same thing: America is too risky. FIFA listened. FIFA's decision wasn't without precedent. In 1986, Colombia lost the World Cup due to economic and security failures. Mexico stepped in and hosted a legendary tournament. That debacle taught FIFA promises aren't enough, delivery matters. In 2024, FIFA warned the US, referencing Colombia's fate, "Get your house in order, or we'll find someone who can." The US didn't take it seriously, believing its size made it indispensable. They were wrong. FIFA, burned once, wouldn't risk it again. With Canada and Mexico already co-hosts, shifting the tournament was easy. History repeated itself. This time, America played the part of Colombia. FIFA proved it could move a World Cup if a host failed. The lesson: no nation is too big to lose the world's trust. America learned it the hard way. In the end, Canada and Mexico are the winners. They'll host a bigger, more prestigious tournament and earn global respect. Their competence and openness set a new standard. For the US, it's a moment of national humiliation. The world's message: America is no longer the default host. The damage to reputation is immense. FIFA's decision shifts power in world football. Competence now trumps size. The US is left outside, wondering how it lost the world's trust. The World Cup is about connection, not walls. The final whistle has blown on American exceptionalism in sport, and the silence is deafening.